this month, President Trump released a new ethics pledge, and in it, he outlined how he, his family, and the Trump Organization will avoid conflicts of interest for the next 4 years while he's in office.
And this is really important because he faced several ethics lawsuits during his first term, which we're going to get into. And since then, he's expanded his companies in ways that ethics experts say open him up to risks to national security.
And some of what's in this pledge is pretty standard, like Trump appointed an outside ethics lawyer to review deals like any sales over $10 million. Trump has also pledged to keep his assets in a trust and has promised to keep his involvement in his business, the Trump Organization, to a minimum, like he won't have access to financial information or the day-to-day happenings.
And I didn't know this. The president and vice president are the only executive branch officials that are exempt from a conflicts of interest law that requires other federal officials to divest of holdings that could result in profits to themselves or their family.
But the president is still subject to the emoluments clause of the Constitution, which prohibits him from taking any money, like any profit, from a domestic or foreign government source. The clause also states that the president can't receive payments from the U.S. federal government except for the president's salary.
So previous presidents have made sure to take space from their business holdings just to make sure there's no doubt about their impartiality, like they can't be bought by a foreign influence or something. Like Carter sold his peanut farm in Georgia, Reagan sold all of his investments, and Johnson and his wife even put her Texas radio station and television holdings in a trust.
In Trump's current ethics pledge, he stated that there would be no new transactions with foreign governments. So that's great. But unlike 8 years ago, his family has not pledged to stop any new international real estate deals, which has sent shockwaves through DC.
Yeah, ethics lawyers say this is insufficient given all of the foreign partnerships that the Trump Organization has. So most notable is his partnership with Live Golf, which is financed by the Saudi government.
So Trump's family is hosting a Live Golf tournament in April at the Trump National Doral Resort in Miami, which will generate hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Trump Organization.
And we see a melding of Trump the businessman with Trump the president because his first call last week after being sworn in was with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And he said last weekend his first trip could be to Saudi Arabia, even though U.S. presidents traditionally visit Britain first.
And it's also reported today in the papers that Saudi Arabia will be investing at least $600 billion in America, but I'll be asking the Crown Prince, who's a fantastic guy, to round it out to around $1 trillion. I think they'll do that because we've been very good to them.
And remember, the man that he's calling a fantastic guy was the one who ordered the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, according to U.S. intelligence. But anyway, from all of this, what we see is a blurring of the line from Trump's politics and his business, which a lot of experts and historians say is cause for concern.
Yes, quote, "It is extremely unusual for any U.S. president to be involved in family business deals with a foreign government nexus at the same time that he is managing foreign policy matters that affect the same nation," which Trump has actually been accused of doing in the past.
So a 156-page congressional report released last year noted that countries like China, Qatar, Malaysia, the UAE, of course, Saudi Arabia, and more, quote, spent lavishly at Trump properties, thereby enriching his real estate empire while he made foreign policy decisions connected to their political agendas.
A watchdog group called Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, or CREW, found that Trump earned up to $160 million in total from businesses in foreign countries while he was in office. That includes at least 69 foreign trademarks, 150 foreign officials who visited Trump properties, and a total of 3,000 conflicts of interest.
And these countries include human rights violators and U.S. adversaries, which raises valid questions about how Trump's financial interests affect national security. So because of this, there were 2 cases against him for violating the emoluments clause, which the Supreme Court dismissed. They ruled that the issue was moot because he was no longer president, which I think is weird. Like, he still potentially committed a crime.
Yeah, can a president just murder someone, but if it's 2 days before their term ends, like, oh, doesn't matter?
I don't know. With all of this context in mind, let's go back to Live Golf, because experts are worried that Trump, with his pre-existing ties to Saudi Arabia, might make decisions that are politically favorable to the kingdom because they might financially benefit him as well. And it is political because Saudi Arabia wants a lot from the U.S., like F-35 fighter jets, and this is confirmed access to our nuclear power technology.
That's quite an ask. And Live is just one of many foreign entities that Trump does business with. Actually, at a news conference earlier this month, he really showcased how unprecedented this second presidency will be in terms of all of the potential conflicts of interest, especially in the Middle East.
And we're honored to welcome one of the most respected business leaders in the Middle East, indeed the world. He's a founder and chairman of DeMac Properties, and I'm thrilled to announce today that DeMac will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time. I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election. They wouldn't do it without that election. I can tell you a lot of people wouldn't.
Trump Organization is also partnering with the government of Oman to develop a $500 million golf course in Oman, which Eric Trump calls the Hamptons of the Middle East. And the project has already been getting a lot of criticism for harsh migrant conditions, although Trump has already profited $5 million from the project. And it's important to note that Oman is close allies with Iran and has actually negotiated talks with the U.S. and Iran in the past.
He's also developing a new hotel in Serbia, actually on government-owned land, and he's very close to closing that deal. And Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and his family are partners on the project. It's actually the first large-scale development they've all done together.
And Serbia has a lot to benefit from this deal, not only financially, but politically, because it's looking for the U.S. to influence its longtime bid to join the EU.
I didn't know they even wanted to. And then, of course, he has over a dozen other properties around the world, from Ireland to India to Uruguay. And all of them are potential points of liability. Ethics experts are worried that opportunists could try to curry favor by booking stays at Trump's network of hotels and golf clubs.
So in the ethics pledge, Trump vows to be detached from the Trump store, which is his official retail site. It's where he sells all his merch. Between Election Day and inauguration, the Trump store launched 168 victory products.
So let's talk about Trump merch. He literally sells everything from guitars to fragrances to a friend of mine even posted a wine bottle that had 47 on it.
And literally everything has his name on it, even the Bible, which I guess he sells.
This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents. Yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard.
He also sells watches, sneakers, trading cards. It's a very good collection.
And the Trump store raised ethical questions during his first term, and it's only expanded greatly since then. A law professor who specializes in government ethics said, while the business does not appear to violate ethics standards, it is seriously not normal for a politician to personally profit from a business based on the use of his or her name.
Not normal is an understatement. Like, he's a president, not a pop star. Apparently, he even took to Truth Social months after winning, urging everyone to buy his merch. And I think it's fair to say that he has found ways to commercialize the presidency in ways that have just never been done here before.
Weirdly not mentioned in the Trump family ethics pledge at all is how Trump will handle his crypto dealings. So if you remember, he ran a campaign promising to make the US the world's crypto capital and reel in regulatory oversight of the industry while having quite an impressive portfolio of his own. In October, just weeks before the election, he launched World Liberty Financial Tokens.
So Trump is listed as the platform's chief crypto advocate, while his sons are all Web3 ambassadors. And he developed this crypto venture with billionaire Steve Witkoff, who is interestingly Trump's Middle East envoy. So again, we have that sense that if you're in Trump's personal or business orbit, there's a high likelihood that you're in his political circle as well, because there isn't that much separation between the two.
And Trump and his affiliates get 75% of World Liberty Financial's revenue. And a primary draw for investors, according to interviews with them, is connection with Trump.
Then we have Trump launching his Trump and Melania meme coins right before the inauguration. And these meme coins are basically linked to internet trends, so they can be like worth nothing, but really surge in price if a lot of people buy them.
And within hours, Trump meme coins skyrocketed. This is crazy. The day before the inauguration, he held $58 billion worth of his own meme coin, which put him in the top 25 richest people on Earth. But since then, it has leveled off, and his holdings are now estimated to be worth just $7.7 billion.
Just $7 billion.
Whatever.
In response to this, Senator Elizabeth Warren wrote a letter to the Office of Government Ethics saying anyone, including the leaders of hostile nations, can covertly buy these coins, raising the specter of uninhibited and untraceable foreign influence over the president. And again, this is why presidents take a step back from their businesses, because almost anything can be a conflict of interest when you're that powerful.
Well, a former ethics advisor to the Obama administration said that Trump's entire crypto holdings may represent the single worst conflict of interest in the modern history of the presidency, because while accumulating crypto assets, he's working on legislation to accommodate the industry and ease regulations.
And the biggest conflict of interest here is that while Trump has a vested financial interest in crypto, he will be assigning the chairman of the SEC, which regulates cryptocurrency.
And of course, other presidents in the past have owned stocks, so whoever they appointed to SEC chair would impact them, but this just seems to be on a scale and so directly in a way that we've never seen before. Something in the ethics pledge that surprised us was that Trump promised to provide members of the Secret Service and other government agencies discounted rates for rooms at his clubs and hotels when they stay to protect him.
And you might think, oh, like that is so random. Why is that mentioned? Well, the House Oversight Committee released a report in October saying that during Trump's first term, his hotels charged the Secret Service up to 5 times the standard government rate, even charging them more than what they charged royal families and Chinese businessmen on that same night, essentially price gouging and making money off taxpayers.
Well, according to Crew, Trump visited his properties 547 times during his first term, taking 145 trips to Mar-a-Lago alone, likely costing taxpayers more than $1.4 million. And we saw just a few days ago, he spent his first Monday as president again at his golf course in Miami.
So that's the rundown on this new ethics pledge and what might be different this time around. Crew did report that in Trump's first term, he made more than $1.6 billion, which is obviously a lot. So with even fewer guardrails this term, we're curious to see who benefits from his presidency and how.